Hey guys, your binos, they kind of stink. I bet you want some new ones. Vortex binos, guys. You want a set of Vortex binos, we're giving them away. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you're commenting on the videos. Make sure you're engaging with our videos. We're giving away binos every single month of the season, guys. So if you want free binos, you want some free optics, maybe we switch it up, we do something a little bit different, guys. At the end of the day, if you guys want some free stuff from Vortex, like, comment, subscribe. All right, guys, which week to take off for your rutcation or not rutcation? So guys, it's the time of the year in which we're all hot and heavy about whitetails. A lot of you guys have sat on the sidelines. I think you're crazy. You probably should have got out there early season and tried to kill some of these bucks before your neighbors did. And maybe some of you didn't get to kill those deer because your neighbors did and got out there early season. But you're the guy that banks every year, taking some time off for the rut. Now, if I had to give you one quick tip before I give you that date range in which I prefer, which is not a popular date range, I don't believe, I would tell you, if at all possible, to try and take your vacation so that you can obviously align that weekend, especially if you're a private land guy. You know, take like a Thursday and a Friday, extend your weekend, and then do it the next week. Thursday, Friday, extend your weekend. Because if we take, you know, our 5 days, our 7 days, our 10-day rutcation, guys, and we get smoked with some less than ideal weather, which has absolutely been happening the past couple of years, you kind of screwed yourself. You know, if you put all your chips you know, pushed all your chips in and you were banking on one time frame and you got screwed with the weather and only caught 2 days of the cold front after a 7 or 8 day vacation, you kind of screwed yourself. So in order to give yourself a better chance, I'd recommend working in those weekends. Now the downside to that, if you think you're a public land hunter, everybody else is going to be out there too. So then maybe you don't necessarily do that. Maybe you do sell out for that time frame in which, you know, it's just one lump of time. You're getting out there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and let everybody else tear it up on the weekends. But if I had to give you guys a time frame in which I would recommend taking off from work, it would not be the first week in November. If I had to be honest with you, believe it or not, guys, that first week in November, it takes a lot of luck. And don't get me wrong, a lot of guys kill bucks that time of year because a lot of guys take off that time of year. It's a tough time to kill, especially a target deer. Now, if you're out there for any good old deer, it might be your week, but I can make the argument maybe it's not. So if you talk to a lot of the big buck killers around the country, guys, they hate the rut. They hate that first week in November because those bucks that were patternable, hint, hint, are no longer patternable. They're running around like chickens with their head cut off. They're breeding. They get to breed one time of the year, so they're freaking out. They're going after those does and they're running around and they're not paying attention and they accidentally get shot elsewhere. In order to keep that from happening, guys, I want you to dial it back 10, 15-ish days. I really want you to focus on that October 20th through the 30th time frame. And there's a couple reasons for it. Patternability of this time. It almost seems like an early season pattern is kind of ramped up on steroids during that October 20th and 30th time frame. You know, those pictures that you were getting at 9 p.m. and midnight of that buck doing this from point A to point B and moving through this transition area, he's now doing closer to daylight hours in that October 20th through 30th time frame. He's making more patternable moves during more killable hours, okay? He's hitting a lot of that sign. We can hunt the scrapes, we can pay attention to rub lines, we can do all that good stuff, and we can have a lot of success. And if I had to be honest with you, the past couple of years, the better cold fronts have actually ended up being in that last week of October than versus like the first week of November. That's completely luck, and I know that because I bank on this every year. I'm telling you exactly what I do, okay? Every single year, guys. So I really focus on that 20th through the 30th because it's a little bit more patternable. We can hunt the sign, whereas if you were to hunt sign in the first week of November, hell, he might be 2 miles away chasing a doe. He's still kind of patternable in the 20th through the 30th. A lot happens in these couple of weeks, guys. He's still patternable. If we see sign, he's probably in the area. If you see sign on November 7th, a buck might have made that on the 20th and is now 4 miles away. Do you understand? So I think hunting in that time in which things are a little bit more patternable, sign is a little bit more fresh, is a little bit more beneficial to your hunting strategy if you're trying to kill a specific buck or just a mature buck in general, guys. The main reason that I have always, especially on my rut hunts, especially on my rutcations, especially on my public land trips, chosen to hunt the 20th through the 30th of October versus the first 10 days of November is because everybody and their brother goes the first 10 days of November. So if I have a particular deer, or even if I don't, and I just want to kind of beat the initial rush into the woods that first week in November, I want to show up a week or two prior. Now, I think people think it's a light switch event, and as soon as November 1st hits, the rut is just on. I'm here to tell you guys that 20th through the 30th time frame is by far the most fun for me. It's maybe not as crazy, but the movement is solid. Bucks are up on their feet, they're checking does, they're doing all the ruddy things. They're not necessarily breeding at that time period, but I'm not worried about them breeding anyway, if I had to be honest with you. I want to beat the rush, okay guys? So if you have a public land trip planned, or even if you only got a 40-acre chunk or a 20-acre chunk or a 100-acre chunk next to 1,000 acres and your neighbors kill the big buck every year, beat them to it. If you know that they're the guys that sit on the sidelines until November 1 hits, like it's magical, there's a magical time frame in which these bucks just start moving, beat them to it. Show up 7 days early. Get out there so that, in theory, there are more bucks. Like, think about it. If you go November 15th, there's definitely less bucks in the woods than there was October 15th. Just think about simple math there. I mean, a lot of those bucks are getting killed in that first week of November. You're gonna have the pick of the litter, so to speak, in that first, that last week of October, especially the 20th through the 30th. I'm not opposed to going on a trip the 20th through the 24th, 25th, and not even hitting that last week. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be hunting that last week, but maybe I strategically do it on a property that's less pressured, where I don't have to out hunt a neighbor or beat everybody to the punch. There's nothing wrong with that. And especially if you're out there going to a new area, hunting public land or anything like that, and you go on the 20th, there's gonna be a lot of fresh sign. And hunt that fresh sign because those bucks are still in that area. Whereas if it was November 7th, he might be 3-4 miles away, guys. So at the end of the day, guys, everybody takes a rutcation. Everybody takes the first week of November off. Everybody takes the second week of November off. And I'd almost rather tell you to do that instead of taking the first one off. Realize there's less bucks at that point. But if you really want to beat everybody and you still want to catch bucks on a semi-patternable pattern where they're moving from point A to point B, but it's just ramped up on steroids a little bit and it's a little bit more daylight activity, I would absolutely tell you to take your rutcation or spend a little bit more time in the woods the 20th through the 30th of October.